Welcome to another Burchfield Penney sketch break, sponsored by Hyatt's All Things Creative. Today's prompt is fish. Now, currently in our museum, we have an exhibition called Lake Sturgeon's Guide to Surviving the Anthropocene. And so today's topic is going to be how to draw your own little lake sturgeon. So if you've had a chance to check out this exhibition, we actually have 5 real-life lake sturgeon, baby ones, in our project space in the galleries. These lake sturgeon were bred in captivity and eventually they will be released into the wild. And that won't happen for a few more weeks. So for now, they're here with us in the galleries, but soon they'll be out in the wild. They are small. They've been growing and growing the past month and a half. But they're not that big, and actually I don't even think most of them would be as big as this paper here. I think some of them may even be like 6 inches long, maybe 7. But they're still young, they're still babies, so that's what today's topic is. We're gonna draw ourselves a lake sturgeon. So lake sturgeon are pretty big animals. When they're older, and they grow to be, I feel like a few feet long, if not many feet long. We're very fortunate to have these creatures in our galleries on view. So right now, my goal right now is to just get the basic shapes of the sturgeon that I'm drawing. So I'm doing this through circles on the page. And these circles are going to be the building blocks to which the rest of this figure comes together. So that's a pretty good base for the body. So I have the head here, the fin, main part of the body, and then it has 2 back fins. And actually I'm missing one. There's like another little tinier fin that kind of comes out right about there. And then another little one that's kind of behind it. So then we have all these fins. So that's kind of the base. And I'm going to be using 3 different types of pencils today for this sketch break. So I have a B pencil. So pencils, drawing pencils specifically, are numbered and lettered based on their graphite density. So a B is relatively soft. It's not hard. I believe H would be the hardest. You'll find a lot of common pencils are HB, which is like a really good balance. And it's just a light, go across the paper lightly. It has a very soft, smooth, I'm not tearing into the paper. The next one I have here is a 4B. So as you go up in your number, usually the darker and softer. So I'm using the same amount of pressure. I'm not pressing any harder, and you can tell that that value is just a little bit different. And then here I have an ebony jet black extra smooth pencil. And this is very, very soft. Same amount of pressure I'm using on my hand, and you can see that scale, that value change is much different. So my goal is for this sketch is I'm going to try and do a little bit of dark, maybe around the outside, and do a lot of shading on to build out the body, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to keep starting with my B pencil just to get some lightly define some of the edges here as I get going. So they have a little bit of a lip in their front of their mouth. Yeah, a little bit of a gill. I'm gonna come out, this will end up being like the brow of the other eye. And there's an eye kind of sitting about here, I would say, on his face. And there's a bit of body underneath here. And there's probably a gill about there. And they have these little whiskers too. So just keep shading, building out my body. Kind of using that to get form. And you don't need to be pressing hard with your pencil either. And you can always come back with an eraser to kind of define the edges a little bit better. So there's a little bit of a lip where one of his gills is, and then it kind of goes away. All right, now I'm gonna try and get his eye. So the eye is kind of right here. And there's like a little bit of a brow he has. And the eye is really dark, but I'm gonna give it a little bit of a highlight and leave some of it white so it kind of looks like it's shining. That way it's not so dark that it gets kind of lost. And because it's set back, I'm gonna shade it in a little bit. And then I come back with this eraser to clear up some of that. So there's a little eyeball. Okay, now I want to turn to the fin. So just kind of get a nice little outline here. And they've kind of got the fin goes kind of in this sideways. So I'm gonna try and do a little bit of lines to show that. I'm gonna leave it a little sketchy so it doesn't get too defined. There's the other side of his eye. And a lot of some, you'll notice with the lake sturgeon is they have like little markings. So I'm just gonna come in with maybe the 4B here and just do a little dark shading in of like the spots he has on his face, or they have on their face. So A little bit darker in the eye. And as I do the outline for the top of his back, you'll see I'm kind of doing a little spiky. They have these spikes and ridges along their back, which are really neat to see. So I'm just gonna try and do a little bit of that here. And then we come to our next fin. I'm just gonna kind of swoop down. It's a little dark in this area, so I'm gonna shade this in. All right, and now come back to this bottom part. I'm actually going to draw a line right down the middle because they have these points that kind of come out, you know, along the sides of them too. So I'm going to try and mark that. And actually, as I'm doing this, I'm going to make the judgment call to make this underside a little bit darker than the top half. So it kind of puts him in a shadow, making him more three-dimensional. And I'm going to carry that through as I go across the body here. Okay. We have another fin. It starts about here. And this is actually, because it comes out, it doesn't need to be in shadow. So we're gonna just erase a little bit. All right. So keep adding that depth and value here. I'm gonna leave this lighter because that's supposed to be coming out towards you. And then behind it, it can stay darker, so it seems like it's in front of it. And there is a fin down here as well. And because it's behind it a little bit, we'll leave that one a little bit darker. All right. And as for the back fins, they're not totally in shadow with this angle that he's drawn in. So I'm gonna end up doing a little bit of erasing here. And just kind of help define him a little bit better. And I'm just gonna lightly shade in. You can always use, with certain B pencils, they're so soft, you can kind of do like a little rubbing And I like to do that when I need to blend in my graphite. So don't be afraid to just take your thumb or finger and add in some more markings that might show up. And your sturgeon, you can honestly put the markings wherever you think they should go. They're all random, right? Everyone has different characteristics. Well, so do these sturgeon. They're not all the same. So you can add in whatever markings you wish. And I'll come back down here to my other fin and just kind of keep adding some detail. This is very sketchy and not very precise, but you get the idea. All right, well, there you have it. This is how you draw a lake sturgeon. So please take a time to visit Lake Sturgeon exhibition. It does close at the end of November, and the lake sturgeon won't be with us for very long. So please try and visit sooner rather than later. We're only gonna have them for a short time before they're gonna be released into the wild. Thank you for joining another Burchfield Penney Sketch Break. Join us in 2 weeks when Kathy Shiroki will be doing a lesson on how to draw acorns. So a nice fall themed sketch break coming up to you in 2 weeks. All right, stay tuned.